I learn so much from these people. I love, it sounds weird to say I love what I do when I'm working in grief, but it's really fulfilling to watch someone walk through the door in a state where they just don't think, how am I going to continue living, to see them thriving again. Mm-hmm. It's such a fulfilling thing. And to think I had one tiny little piece of that journey for them. I held space for them, because that's what we do. We're not fixing them. They don't need to be fixed. They need to figure out what they need for themselves. And we get to just kind of navigate that journey with them. We don't have the answers, and it looks different for you and it looks different for me. And that's what's so individualized about the process. But yeah, I feel most days really thankful and grateful that I can be a small part of these individuals and their journey.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us again for this episode of At Home with Emily, a podcast about creating a life you love. And I am so happy that you are back with us today, because Melanie Blair is back with us again. And last time we were talking about grief and loss and just going through those hard times, how it seems to feel magnified. I think the way that you said it, when everyone's so happy at the holidays, and you want that too, but you may not be there as a person who has gone through loss. And toward the end of our conversation, we were talking about how you do change when you go through something that you weren't expecting, or you go through a big loss, either as a parent, as a sibling, as a spouse, and how that does change you. And so not all bad ways either. I mean, the depth of a person that you are. I mean, it's apparent that you have grown through everything that has been thrown at you in your life. And you have helped so many people through that. And so I want to get to that. But before we hit to that part of the conversation, I was thinking to this phrase that I've heard you use before, which is secondary losses.
Yes.
And it's, okay, we lost a loved one. All of a sudden, it's the rock in the stream, and it's the ripple.
Yes.
What is that like? And how do you help people understand that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's to the whole conversation of change, right? Perspective changes for us. We're changing as an individual. We're just not the same person that we were prior to the death. And then we have to figure out, what am I willing to put up with in my life, right? What do I have the energy for? Who are these people in my life that I'm willing to kind of still fight for to be a part of my life? And who am I now realizing that's just not what I need right now? So you're just shifting and changing as an individual in so many ways after this. Changes in relationships, changes in careers, jobs, any other kind of loss that kind of follows through that. All the ripple, that's exactly the best description. We do an activity where it's talking, drop a rock in the center of a body of water, watch all the ripples, and then tell me what you're experiencing that has shifted you. What, sitting in a group with a mom, and we did this activity, and she said, I started thinking about my son not having his dad and all the things that now I'm going to have to teach him. Shaving, deodorant. Like, we're not, it sounds so simple, but, as a maybe male not having that figure in his life, as a female not having their mother, and navigating all the things that young females start to experience, and then not having your parent to do that with. And so all of those little shifts and changes will ultimately changes who we are. And mostly, I can speak from my own experience, just my perspective on how I wanted to treat others and how I needed to be treated at that time was just shifting. Kindness. That's like the one thing that always comes to mind for me.
Sounds so simple.
Doesn't it?
It really does.
But it's not.
Why is it so hard to come by right now? Part of it is how our society is geared right now. But to just take that pause and take that beat, I mean, I can say that to myself.
Yeah.
With my own kids in traffic when the car doesn't go. I mean, just all the things, all the little things. But the person that you're talking to right now at the checkout line or wherever you may be, you never know what they're going through.
I said, I feel like I learned that everyone I encounter has a story. It may not look like my story, but there were so many moments. I'll give you an example. We're at Children's Hospital. We don't know how long we're going to be there. We run out of clothes. We've been in a hospital room with very little daylight, sunshine, those types of things. It'd been raining. It was February. It was cold. You're already kind of dealing with that seasonal depression stuff anyway. And then on top of it, you're watching your son. You don't know what's going to happen. And my husband said, I got to get out of here for just a little bit. Let's go run. I could use another sweatshirt. So we try and go to the Galleria. We walk in, and somebody lets a door slam in my face. And I know I don't look right? I haven't showered. I look a mess. I'm not wearing any. I know I don't look like myself.
That's all you could do to get to that store.
That's right.
Yes.
And it was just trying to take a breather. And I kept we didn't make it. We walked in the door slammed in my face. We started to look around. We couldn't function. We knew we felt different. And we'd both just go, forget it. Like, it doesn't matter. So we turn around and we walk out. And I remember getting in the car with him and just saying, gosh, I just wish they knew what we were dealing with right now. Maybe they would have held the door for us. And in that moment, I thought,
seems so small.
I need to keep that with me at all times, that everyone I encounter has a story. We don't know what people are dealing with. And so a simple act of kindness, a small gesture to a grieving person like that goes a long way. You already don't feel right. You already feel different.
Well, and to teaching our kids that. My kids are in school every day, like a lot of children. And I always tell them, you never know what your classmates are coming from in the mornings when they make it to school. They may not have a parent waking them up and feeding them breakfast and taking them to school. That's right. It could be everything for them just to get there. And so, starting that when our kids are little. But to, like what you said, when a life event happens to you is when that perspective changes. And don't you think that there's been a lot that you have gone through? I mean, in the position that you're in, Melanie, I think of you as a hero because you don't have a day that goes by that you can pretend that your family never went through this and that you never went through this as a mom because you help others now. And part of that is sharing your story. Is that super extra hard? Or does that help you in some ways that, you can see yourself coming through those doors when it's somebody coming in for the first time?
It's mixed for me. I love what Mark says. He says, I chosen to live a life worth living for Luke. And I couldn't agree more with that. I hope he's proud of me. I hope that he sees that I've taken a horrible, emotional thing in our life, and that's changed my whole family unit. Grieving with my husband, we're two people suffering the same loss, but the grief looks so very different for us. Watching my children still navigate it, because as we approach every single milestone, he should have started kindergarten a couple of years ago. Those moments are hard for our family unit, and we haven't forgotten that. I feel so grateful, though, to walk along so many people. And so, yeah, they're hard days. And I can remember when I started thinking about doing this, Karen Scott told me, there's a place for you when you're ready here at Lost and Found. And I told my husband, I said, she must be crazy. To
think that I would do that.
Yeah. Well, how am I ever going to be able to do that? I empty a box of tissues every time I sit in here for 50 minutes. Just when you're sobbing like that and you look a hot mess, and I just think, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
And she was right.
She knew.
She did. She saw something in me. She's always seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. And when I told my husband I was going to take the job, he said, okay, but I can't be the person that you come home to every night and talk about this. I can't hear all of those stories, and I have to respect that. I have great peers at work that, we really support each other because of the types of things that we're hearing every day. But yeah, there's a big healing component for me as well, that I learned so much from these people. I love, it sounds weird to say I love what I do when I'm working in grief, but it's really fulfilling to watch someone walk through the door in a state where they just don't think, how am I going to continue living, to see them thriving again. It's such a fulfilling thing, and to think I had one tiny little piece of that journey for them. I held space for them, because that's what we do. We're not fixing them. They don't need to be fixed. They need to figure out what they need for themselves, and we get to just kind of navigate that journey with them. We don't have the answers, and it looks different for you and it looks different for me, and that's what's so individualized about the process. But yeah, I feel most days really thankful and grateful that I can be a small part of these individuals in their journey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can certainly see in you how Charlie's life and the time that you had with him has opened your heart to so many other people that maybe it wouldn't have been in the same way. How could it be?
Yeah.
Before. And I know he's proud of you. I know your whole family is.
Yeah.
Your husband too. And the fact that you guys have fought through this.
Yeah, one of my biggest fears
Together.
was that you hear how much the divorce rate can be when navigating.
Because you're a constant reminder to your spouse.
Yeah, just how hard it was on us, and learning to communicate with one another. Our relationship changed.
Yes.
As a direct result of this. We both are different people as a direct result. Our children are different. So yeah, and that's why this is a journey, right? Because it's never fully over. As we continue to hit milestones, as we continue to navigate things together, we're never going to stop thinking about him. We're never going to stop changing because of it. He was 9 months old, and my grief looks different than others because I didn't know his favorite color. I didn't know what his voice sounded like. I never got to see him take his first steps. Those are things that I'm grieving as well. And as we, think about our youngest starting kindergarten, those are bittersweet moments, because although we're thankful we're here with her, we're again reminded of something that was taken from us.
Yeah.
And how can you not be changed because of that? And I think a part of that process is giving ourselves grace through that, accepting, trying to figure out how to accept these things that are going to shift in our life, and relationships that are going to shift. And that's really hard. That's a whole nother part of that counseling journey with these individuals, is figuring out who they are after their person has died. And Mark said it the other day. I don't think he'd mind me sharing. He was just like, I don't know what it's like to not be the dad of a dead child. That's pretty powerful. It's such a part of our identity. He and I are, channeling that. That doesn't, that's not everybody's path. And I think that, that's what we have to get to a place with people.
Grace for yourself first.
Absolutely.
And then grace for others. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us for this episode of At Home with Emily, as we've talked about the important topics of grief and growth. And join us next week. We're going to be talking about gratitude as we enter into the Thanksgiving season, and all the amazing benefits that gratitude can have in your life. Not just perspective, but health benefits and so much more. Please be sure to like and follow us if you're watching us on YouTube. Check us out on social media, and head to aroundtheozarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter. We'll see you next time.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.